Chops again.
Did you know that?
No. Okay, here we go.
Are we doing this song?
It's already going.
Spoonful of sugar makes them go down. The medicine go down. The medicine go down. It's a spoonful of sugar has some medicine go down in the most delightful way.
Welcome back to
The record.
Wow.
That was loud. Sorry.
That was.
It's a little bit of spoony.
Kind of yelled there. Sorry,
Just remember,
folks.
this is stereo. So.
I know.
Oops.
Yeah, we're switching. We're switching to stereo. I don't know what that means.
It just means it's all on one track.
It's
so
truly off the record.
It's all
Off the record. Wow.
We had to get back to our roots.
Back to our roots. It's been a minute. No more roots. Well, more roots.
We're doing less editing on the show to focus more on the content.
And
Next
to
week
make it
we'll focus
quicker.
on the content.
Just every week.
Oh, my sunglasses.
Oh my gosh.
I was going to say
every
you didn't
time.
get new ones. Oh, those
Yeah.
are new ones. I
So-
was going to say I might copy you and do the sunglass thing because who did I see that was wearing Theo Vaughn.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think it's easier to talk to the camera because you're like, I can look
for sure.
anywhere.
It's because, yeah, exactly.
You can just look, I can look up and the person can't tell.
My eyes are closed.
Well, if you
I'm
do it,
asleep.
then I have to do it too.
Well, we can't all do it because then we'll look like the Blues Brothers. And I think that's a little racist.
Or those little mice.
the Blues Brothers?
The three blind mice.
Three blind mice.
Oh my gosh.
That's
ableism.
us.
What?
Ableism.
I don't know what that means.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Ableist?
No.
Can we get a def?
Tough. Well, yeah. Have you ever watched Blues Brothers?
No.
No.
Really? Oh my gosh, guys. We're talking about media today and media that influence us, Blues Brothers.
Talk about media every day.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying the media that made us who we are. Who we are today.
Discrimination in favor of able-bodied people. So we would be saying, because we're not blind.
Yeah.
I get it.
Well, okay, it makes sense, but it's
We're role
also
playing
after a blind mouse.
We're role
We're not role playing.
We're not role playing. We're role playing being blind mice. Tough.
Three blind mice.
Wait, song's already been done. We finished the song.
All right. Well,
What happened this week, folks?
nothing. That's why we're dragging this three blind mice thing out. So,
Well, we got our table.
Zach Johnson finished the table.
Shout out Zach Johnson.
So sick. Go check it out on whoa.
Whoa.
Go check it out on our Instagram. It's so cool.
Did we posted it?
Oh, actually,
haven't.
we did not post.
If you saw it within the 24 hours of a story, then you saw it. If not, we will be doing
Tough
a
luck.
post.
pictures to come.
Pictures and video to come.
Right.
Yes, it is awesome though. Check him out. Legend of ZZ is his Instagram. ZEEZY.
Went to lunch with one of our clients. Zach, he paid
Yeah.
because we're poor, but that was fun.
Such a nice guy.
Such a
180
nice guy.
tacos.
Get ready for season 3 of
Today's
Today's
the
the Day.
Today's the Day is making a comeback. It is gonna be crazy.
Biggest podcast in the world.
Yep.
I'll say it.
We should have competitions within our own podcast to try and have them do better than each other.
But
I
they
bet that
don't
would
know.
be really easy to do with Casey and Zach to put them head to head. That's good. Oh yeah, that is so good.
Hey,
Hey.
I like it. So look out for Today's the Day.
Yeah.
We have 2 recordings for Casey today, but we didn't have any this week.
Yeah,
Yep.
pretty chill week. Good stuff.
And some for Lizzie. She's in Spain.
Yeah.
Cup of Joe had part 2. Did I already say this? Part 2 of Iron Cowboy?
Oh,
that
yeah.
last week?
That was last week, but we didn't talk about it because we didn't record we recorded like on Tuesday, so it happened after that.
So go listen to that, Iron Cowboy. And Some things might be coming
Some
with
things might
Iron
be-
Cowboy.
yeah.
I'm going to put it out on the podcast.
Put it
We're
out
putting it
there.
into the universe.
Hopefully
And
it
if
lasts
you never
longer than the
see
beard.
anything, if you never see anything, we never said anything. Yeah, I shaved because it itched and I looked like a homeless person.
Boo.
It was starting to look pretty scraggly. I wasn't going to say anything, but it was starting to just like poke outwards.
Yeah, for some reason my hair doesn't grow like down. It just was going out.
Looking like a porcupine.
It was the night after we all got together and it was like, Steven doesn't know I was doing this challenge and he probably thinks I have really bad hygiene.
All because of Steven.
How other people perceived me is why I cut it. But
Yeah,
I also didn't like that my wife was thinking I didn't look too good either.
I watched Saving Mr. Banks. Great movie. Have you guys seen that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Saving Mr. Banks. Lovely movie. But anyway, in that movie, the dad says, yeah, man must keep his face shaven to save his daughter's cheeks.
Thank you.
And I don't know why, but in that exact
daughter's cheeks.
yeah, like when he kisses his daughter on the cheek, or like
Oh,
You don't want to scruff
don't
it
make
up.
it weird, man.
sorry.
And so in that moment, I said, "That's like Zach. He must shave
He must shave.
to save all of our cheeks."
And today, I am staying consistent with sunglasses. Today we're on Kith,
Woohoo!
Japanese collab with Sonoli. I could be saying that wrong, but
So
Guaranteed, that's wrong for sure.
yes, but they are handmade in Japan. Pretty sweet. Got
Damn.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, those are
I'm
pretty
still paying for them on Klarna.
Klarna. How much are they monthly?
Still have about 5 or 6 payments left.
Almost own these bad boys.
20% interest on $100 sunglasses.
Worth it.
Worth it.
Crazy.
Well, that's all we have. So let's get into
That's all
this
we got.
week's topic. Tanner chose it, so how about you introduce it?
Yeah, Tanner did choose it.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I suggested it, and then Tanner said that's the one we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Always-
actually, Jack, you.
Always
You
want to
introduce
take
it.
credit.
So if it goes bad, it's my
Yes.
fault.
It's gonna go bad.
And if
so-
it goes good, it's Tanner's idea.
Yeah.
Great. Cool. What is the topic, Tanner?
Can't quite get comfortable
The
over
topic
here.
is
Pretty sweaty.
what is the topic?
Okay, cool. Crazy. The topic is we're talking about media that I think a cool title is media that made us, because it's kind of like
Yeah,
snappy.
it's got a nice
you know?
ring to it.
So anyway, the topic is media that made us. Media that like songs, movies, I don't know,
People.
pictures, that made us want to be creatives and do what we do. Should we start with number 1, the personal journeys and origin stories?
Let's start with it.
Kind of go through it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants to go first? Actually, Tanner, I feel like you should go first.
I feel like I already shared mine, but I'll kind of get into it a little bit. So
Key moments. Key moments.
Well, I got my first camera at the age of 12, and it was a Canon T2i, a Rebel series, and
Whoa.
good stuff, man. It was good.
Crazy.
Got that from my brother. He was on a mission, and
Shout out Taylor.
on a mission for the church, and while he was on my
It's like he's rapping today. Ba-da-bing, ba-da-bing.
No cuts.
No
No
cuts.
cuts.
Stereo.
And while he was on his mission, he gave me his camera. I think it was for my birthday, maybe not, but anyways, regardless, he gave it to me, started shooting with it. All of the pictures were absolutely trash and terrible. And I don't know if I have any of those pictures, but if I do, that'd be funny to look back
We're
on.
gonna show some of them.
We're gonna do a full episode reviewing our work. This week was not the week to do that.
Yes.
So
because it's a big episode that it takes a lot of editing, and I didn't want to do it.
So we're gonna do that in the future, and you'll see Tanner's first
You'll
photos.
see Tanner's Vogue photo shoot that he did of
Oh
himself.
my gosh.
Funny enough,
Absolutely
that
atrocious.
was later.
That was like 3 years ago.
Not early media. Really thought he was gonna take off in modeling.
Yeah,
Tough.
missed that one. Yeah, so I got my first camera. I was shooting around with it, and my family did a lot of like road trips and traveling kind of stuff. And so I would always take it on our trips, and Shot a lot of like nature and landscape stuff. And yeah. And then in high school, I took some photography classes. That was cool.
Good old high
A lot
school
of fun.
photography
Shout
classes.
out Gina Tuttle.
Shout out Tanner winning the school art show. So come on,
Dude.
give yourself credit.
Let's see if we can get into this my story, but I won that too.
Oh, shoot.
But
Two
then,
winners.
But then Tanner got a full ride scholarship to UVU.
Whoa.
Eat it.
So who won?
And then I
Not
went
me.
for one semester and said,
Took one astrology class. Said this is really hard, guys.
yeah. And then
Mine's not that cool.
Hey man, I didn't win anything.
It's all right.
I did win a couple photo shows. That was cool.
A couple.
Yeah, this guy's big time.
I won. I actually didn't win so I won the school art or the photo show or whatever, and then I was in the district art show for like the entire school district.
Okay.
Didn't win that one,
Very cool.
but yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, love it. I'll go next.
Off
Is
the
that
jack.
do you want to kind of keep going? Are you good?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, thank God.
Goodness.
No, I'm just kidding. That was great. Okay. Personal journey, origin story. We already kind of did all this, but I'll just touch on key points. Okay. BYU, hired editor. Worked with Damien for a long time. I think he's probably a really key person in my life that taught me everything I know. And so that BYU job was probably the biggest part of anything that I do today.
Some might say a cataclysm.
A catalyst, if you will, the catalyst of my career.
Yes.
Tough. Key moments or experiences. I don't know. That's tough. I think it's tough to like hold it back to key moments. I feel like, do you guys have like key moments that like sparked your like,
I have a couple, but it's just because mine is music, so concerts happen really young.
yeah.
But as far as the job, like the specific job we're in, key moments are so hard because it's more of everything
Yeah, exactly.
that you did.
It was kind of everything. And so I think on like kind of the number 2 question, the influential people mentors, I think that's kind of what I'm touching on is like that first media job that I had at BYU was like the most influential part of my career.
I love it.
Yeah.
I have to read it because I'm that person. Key moments or experiences that spark their passion. My dad loved concerts. Mine, we already hit on this, but my section is music. And so always played
Music boy.
music, and then it went to bands, and then recording studios and internships in high school, and then realized I couldn't really afford to create the way that I wanted to. I really loved the experience of being inside of studios. Gaynor Brunson, who does all the stuff for Osmonds, he lives up the hill from the studio and has an awesome studio.
Still does it?
Yeah, still does it.
Wow.
Scott Wiley.
June.
Well, Gaynor doesn't do Osmonds now. He just records a bunch of different people. He has a huge studio in his house. It's awesome. June Audio is Scott Wiley. Interned for him. It was awesome. Noisebox, a guy named Dave Zimmerman in Provo. Just went to all these places, but what happens is it's really awesome to sit there and talk about what you want to do and be creative and be in that space.
Yeah.
But there's a clock on the wall and you're charged hourly. And so it's really difficult to say, I want to have,
Keep looking up.
like, you always have that because you don't have enough money at that time in high school to just be like, okay, let's be in this space. So I tried to make that space in my house, but was really inspired by those studios, and they all let me intern there, so I didn't have to pay and could still learn and see kind of what I wanted to do.
And you and Tanner built didn't you? Or is that not real?
Built the what?
The guitar wall in June?
I did.
You
Tanner
did.
was nowhere to be found.
No.
If you go into June Audio, in the guitar room, there's a pedal wall, and I built that pedal wall. So
pedal wall.
Shout out June Audio. They were all super cool to me, but I loved that.
We got to get Scott on.
Yeah, he'd be great.
be
He would
sweet.
do it. And then key moments. Just when I was really, really young, the first concert I ever went to, my mom didn't want to go, so my dad took me to John Mayer at USANA. And USANA, if you don't live in Utah, it's like
Dang.
20,000. It's a huge venue.
Yeah.
And I just love John Mayer. I loved music already, and it was the first concert that I can remember being really inspired, saying I want to do that. And then from there, my dad has been to hundreds of concerts, and so concerts growing up, even just local concerts or people coming to town or Sierra, just anything that was going on, my dad took our family. So I've just been around concerts.
A lot.
Yeah, I've gone to probably over 100 concerts.
Damn, that's crazy.
And so that love
Been
of
to like 2 concerts.
but I love, yeah, I'll talk about it more, but I love live music. That was awesome.
Good
And
old
then
music.
yeah, not a lot of more key moments, just being around that stuff I loved. And then surrounded by people that did it, I think was the biggest thing, which is influential people and mentors. So
Yeah, I feel like that's the biggest thing for me too. Like that BYU job, it's just like you're around it, and so it's like that was the first time I'd ever actually been around, like actual industry people. That's like this is their job full time, and like we went on like real productions where there's like real cameras and like audio guys and gaffers and grip and actors, and it's crazy, and directors, and you're like, whoa, this is like really cool. And
but
I
this
feel
is a real job.
and this is a real job.
This is,
Exactly.
It doesn't feel crazy when somebody's doing it and you're around. This is their job.
Yeah. And so I feel like that always kind of felt like, especially in Utah, I was working at Vivint before that, and that sucked. and so I quit that, and then it was kind of like I just knew I wanted to do something in media, and so I started making YouTube videos, and those are bad.
And we will review
those. Are not
That's
good.
coming, people.
Those are
That will be
terrifying. Oh my
seen when we're looking at my
and
Vogue.
so, and that was kind of like I feel like that was another kind of influential person, was those like Casey Neistat vlogs. In the beginning, I was like, oh my God, that is like a dream. Like that would be so much fun to just create content and just do that full time. And that was kind of the only thing like in my mind, like maybe I could just do that, and like that would be really fun. But it was like also you have to be good at talking in front of the camera, and you have to like Casey Neistat is such a personality. But then I got that BYU job, and it was
funny to be inspired by the people doing it by themselves and then start at a job that it's like the most corporate side
literally
of the creative process.
Yeah.
It, like completely separate sides of like the stick.
There's no wrong way to get into this job, but that path is you start at the bottom and you work for a long time to work up that ladder. And everyone and their job is so niche that eventually you could get to a place, but you're not over the whole entire project.
Yeah, no.
You're always working up to be somebody that, just probably isn't doing vlogs.
Exactly.
It's just
Yeah,
a
no.
different career path.
Such a different career path. Like you work as a PA, and then you kind of like pick your sector. It's like, okay, well, if I'm interested in cameras, then I'm going to be a PA, and then I'm going to talk to the camera guys, and maybe they'll let me like be a camera assistant one day, or like
There's 50 people that are specialized in each little niche.
yeah, there's like 40 people that run this one camera, and so it's like, okay, maybe I'll do this. I'll run focus on this camera for a little bit, and then and you work your way up to be a DP in 30-40 years. And so that kind of path, I think at BYU kind of like freaked me out, and I was like, I was an editor and a PA, and that's the career path. It's like if you're an editor, you're just going to be an editor. Like that's what you are, pretty much. And
Not a ton of creativity and your own shots in that.
yeah. Exactly. And especially since I was an assistant editor at the time, and so I kind of saw that path of like, okay, this is going to take a really long time, and I just didn't want to do that. So I quit, and I got fired. Still up in the air.
He quit or got fired.
Who
but he was
knows? One of
here
the
same.
and kind of a transition into this, which was being able to call all the shots and see it. And it's cool because everything we do, even though we don't assign it names, is all of those things to make it work smoothly. And you get to do all of those at a much lower scale. But it's fun to see, like, this is all the things that need to happen to have a system in place that works.
Yeah.
And I think that background helped us a ton be able to see a project as a whole and what things need to happen.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right.
Tanner?
Who was a big person in your life?
Well, funny story.
Love funny stories.
Chris Burkhard,
Love him.
a nature and landscape photographer, surf sport kind of stuff.
Influencer.
Yeah, he was. I did a report on him in my photo class in high school, and so I've followed him forever. And like, how long ago was it? Like 3 months ago that we went to that.
That's crazy. That was a minute ago. That was like at least 6-7 months ago.
But
Really?
it's funnier to tell the story before that. In between the story that Tanner's
my
telling.
gosh. This is so dumb. Oh my gosh.
Wait, what?
Okay, I'm gonna tell my part and then you tell that stupid part.
Okay.
Okay, so I did a report on Chris Burkhard. He was like literally my favorite literally
man.
my favorite photographer ever.
Crazy.
I looked up to him so much, still do. He's still amazing. And did my report on him, was like so pumped, just like love all of his stuff and always
his
follow him on
books.
Instagram. I own his books, and this was all in high school. And then jump forward to your part and tell yours.
So then our friend Emerson has a ranch, and it's right at Capitol Reef. And so they're like, it borders Capitol Reef, and we go a couple times every year when we were in high school, and we had graduated, and for some reason Tanner couldn't come on this one trip. We go down there, and York Galland, who owns a helicopter, I Fly Heli, look him up, he's awesome. He was down there, and some creators needed to stay at the ranch, and so
Hold on. I go on every single one of these freaking trips with them. We go like, not anymore, but we used to go like every year, and I could not go on this one because I had something, and then dive back in.
So then these guys walk in. So it's the main guy and then two other photographers, and it's Chris and his two assistants or interns. They're also professional like surf photographers though, so they're all legit. But I didn't know this at the time. He's talking to me and a couple of guys about his journey going and doing his Netflix movie where he saw the Northern Lights, telling the whole thing. Actually got my info because he's like, oh, you do music? Kurt's like, he does music, and like got my number and everything. And then took us in the helicopter. Took us in the helicopter with him to see Capitol Reef. And I text Tanner and go, do you know who this guy is?
Did you not know who that Tanner knew?
I had no idea who he was.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
At some point I put it together like, oh, this guy is legit, because he kept bringing up like, oh, I'm doing this thing. I think he was a full sponsor for Sony at the time.
Yeah.
Like, they got this new camera.
When was this?
This was the year out of high school, so it would have been
like
2018.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Chris was like
He
big
was
at this.
massive. The Netflix movie had just come out.
Okay.
Almost a year previous, and he was just touring everywhere to go take photos, and he was shooting. It's so crazy. So we got to like see Capitol Reef with him, and then he left. But
And was he taking pictures and everything like that?
Mhm.
Literally my dream. Still to this day is my dream.
That's tough,
And
man. Flying around in a helicopter around Capitol Reef.
As Chris is sitting there taking pictures of Capitol Reef, like,
and
bro.
talked to us about everything for hours and hours and hours.
What did What was going through your mind when you got sent that photo from Zach?
I just speechless, in
Pissed?
shock. I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, because I was still with him, and he
man,
said,
that's so
just so you know, that's like if John Mayer was in the room with you right now, and
Oh,
you don't even
man.
care. You ask if I know who this person is, you don't even care. And
Literally.
that's like, I wouldn't be able to even speak if I was with him right now.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
So Tanner got his moment later on.
Tanner's
So fast
biggest
forward,
hero.
Still,
fast forward 7 years.
Not the moment.
still not the moment. That is a different kind of moment.
Ari Bikes put on a thing with Chris, and now it's back to Tanner.
Yeah. So Ari Bikes, Chris is like a
Holy crap,
sponsored athlete for them or something. I don't know.
Like an
Anyways, he
ambassador.
has some sort of connection with Ari Bikes, and they brought him in to do like a screening of his new movie this last year.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was doing a giveaway for some stuff.
Yeah,
and I
raffle tickets.
and I bought one of his books that night. So I went and got that, said hi,
Took his picture.
yeah, got my picture taken, got like him to sign my book and everything.
So cute.
And then dude, this fanboy
Fanboy.
moment.
Can you
And
sign this?
literally, you should have seen me trying to talk to him. It was tough.
Pretty bad.
Really?
Yeah.
You were like,
I was like,
Hi-
Dad, I love your stuff. So inspired by everything you do.
Kind of like how he's talking on this podcast today. Maybe he loves us.
oh,
So inspired by you guys.
so good.
It's the last item.
That's
Yeah, so he was
tough.
doing a giveaway, and it was for like one of his prints, and he was reading the raffle tickets, and he came up to this number, read it out. I was looking at my card, and he said the numbers on my card, and I didn't believe it. So I sat there for a second, and then I looked up, then I looked back, and reread them again, and I said, "Oh, that's me,
That's me. That's me. and then
And this is like a quiet room with like 250 people just sitting in chairs. Oh, it was tough. But it was sick. I still
It's me.
I have the print on my desk, and it will forever be there.
and he had him
Chris
sign
is
the
like,
print.
who is this kid?
He had him sign the print, and it's on his desk, and it's
Wow.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So
and how much
Chris-
does he charge for those prints?
100 buckaroos.
Yeah, 100 bones.
Bones and signed, probably more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
maybe.
listed on eBay.
Priceless to a guy
Chris,
like me.
come on the podcast, okay? We're
He
gonna
is-
get you on.
I've actually reached out, and he has said he'd come on Today's the Day, but I'm sure that he would come on this podcast. He is like
Yeah.
super cool about helping.
He just has to
whoever-
be. He's not really. He doesn't come here.
He
you?
does actually
No,
a
he
lot
comes here a
because
lot.
Ari is here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he was like never here because he's always traveling.
Well, he's always in freaking Iceland, but
He does
come here a
He
lot.
does come here.
No, he is legit probably the coolest like influencer that like I think a lot of people have followed for a long time, at least
Yeah.
in this field.
He was so early to Instagram and got that million followers so early
Yeah.
before it was only for marketing and a specific way to post. And so he had his style, and then he
Yeah.
just kept it because he already had the following. So
Yeah, that like Peter McKinnon, like
Mhm.
I'm on. Look how cool this place is. Oh, it's so cool. Like adventure photography,
Mhm.
and that's kind of what you want to do, right? Like always been a
Yeah.
dream a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like Chris Burkhard is something I would want to do, not like Peter McKinnon.
Well, yeah. Well, Peter's
don't get it twisted.
Peter's fallen off.
Peter McKinnon was cool back in the day, but
Yeah. Sorry, Peter.
Sorry, Peter, you sold out,
sold
and we
out.
all know.
And we all-
But you
we
had
all
to
felt
do.
it.
You had to do what you had to
got to
do.
do what you got to do in the creative industry.
Yeah, you make your money
But-
and you.
Polar Pro came out with Peter McKinnon and the Chris Burkhard. And who am I gonna buy?
Chris Burkhard
Chris Burkhard.
Yeah.
Sorry, Peter.
and Short Stash. Love that guy.
Yeah, kind of already hit it, but I would say
Chris.
Taylor, Chris for sure, and of course Ansel Adams. Can't leave him out.
Who?
Ansel Adams.
Whoa. Who?
You joking?
You're lying.
Ansel
Yeah.
Adams.
Ansel Adams. He did all like the Yosemite pictures. I'm sure you've seen his work.
I would
I'm
be
sorry, that is so niche.
No, it's
That
not.
is-
I'm sorry. We can take it out. But you're wrong. He is literally one of the most famous photographers in the world.
I don't. I just don't follow photographers, so I don't know him. Like,
I feel you, man.
Hey,
that's so niche.
it's not.
It's not niche.
That's pretty niche.
It's not. And oh, it's so not. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. It's so not niche at all.
Ansel Adams?
Yes, he.
If you're into photography, then you'd
No.
know him.
No, not even photography.
Yeah, I'm sorry. On
That's
this one,
like
man.
saying
Tough.
a John Mayer on music.
Ansel Adams?
Yes, it is.
No way.
I
Yes.
promise you it is. It might actually be more like a Michael Jackson.
Honestly.
I'm not kidding.
Really?
Yes.
Never heard of this man in my entire life.
Well,
Okay,
welcome.
Well,
How
I
to
wish
shoot
I
like
could
Ansel
go.
Adams.
I wish I could go back to the time when I first found out who he was.
Who was
I was so
Ansel
young, I
Adams?
can't even remember.
Crazy. Yeah, no, never heard of him. Shout out Ansel Adams.
Shout him out.
Yeah,
I'd
Dead
be
now?
he
remiss. Yeah.
is gone.
He is gone, but never forgotten. Keeps being inspired by people every day.
Born in 1902.
He's
Practically Michael Jackson.
124.
There you go.
Yeah. Well,
26.
shout out Ansel Adams. Don't know you, but guess you're good at photography or something.
Pioneer.
I guess.
Pioneer.
I guess so. I'll share a little bit about like Taylor and he did a lot of like humanitarian video work.
Mm-hmm.
And so he would do a lot of traveling and like create videos and take pictures for these humanitarian groups that go out to different places. And that was very cool to see, like just that option of being able to do that, because it's very similar to like I guess it's not similar really at all, but going on like the road trips and stuff with my family and taking pictures there, it was kind of cool to see that in like a work sense and like getting paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, those humanitarian places usually don't pay the best, but they usually pay. They usually pay for like your room and board, and they'll give you some money for afterwards. But
I think that experience, though, you're super into the travel anyways, and so to be able
Yeah.
to just go do it, it's an awesome story to be able to go do that. And it was cool to have him doing it professional when we were really young.
yeah, for sure.
Well, iconic artist Ansel Adams kind of goes into the number 3 question.
Which I
True
would
that.
love to answer my second question, if possible.
Oh, I thought you already did.
No.
Oh, go for it.
People, for me, if I really have to go back and say, not just music, but like inspired me to think that I could do this job as a career, would be Mr. Jones. He is our librarian at Orem High. Gave me an opportunity. I didn't do well in school, and put a office in the library. Zach had my own name tag on the wall. Zach Liston, music director. Like this, just saw that I was not going to go down the path that everybody else was going down, and the teachers were concerned, principal, counselors, all that were very concerned if I was going to graduate, what I was going to do, and he just saw that I was what I was interested in, what I was excelling in, and gave me a shot. We would put together Tuesday music open mics. Got to be like 150 people in the library, sometimes more. We do these concerts, and then he let us bring my band to the school and play during lunch, and then I would reach out and get like local musicians to come play. Charity gave a piano to the school and just gave me so much freedom to do music. I would like spend the whole day learning how to work mixers and gear that was music. Just, yeah, probably stuff that he all wasn't supposed to be doing for a student, but was, yeah, he wrote on the back of my yearbook, "You're either going to be homeless or very successful. Let me know which one you choose." And it just went.
Jury's still out.
And who knows what will happen. But it was super cool to me, and it's still catch up with him, but Yeah, he was so big in saying, yeah, you can do this, and you don't need to do what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
So respect to Mr. Jones.
Mr. Jones
Shout
was
out
always
Mr.
really
Jones.
cool. He gave that opportunity, I think, to a lot of kids that were in a similar boat.
Yeah.
And that's just always kind of been his thing. But yeah, seeing like the open mics and stuff, and seeing how many people that like brought in and brought like almost made like a community at the school.
For
was
sure.
really cool.
A lot of kids that probably didn't feel like they fit in, they would come and perform, and then it turned into like whatever you want to do. There was poetry.
Yeah.
It turned into like an art section someone took over, and he still does it. So it kept going, but definitely a place where, oh geez, there's a lot of people that are probably feeling like this.
Yeah, now he's got that cool speaker wall that he built.
Yeah, he just kept building on it and helping kids. Yeah, just see, there's not really an internship program for stuff like that in the school that we went to. So it was the first steps in. There's other paths.
Yeah.
Good guy.
More paths than one.
Now 3
Now 3.
iconic artists and works. Jack is
So
very excited.
for mine, Ansel Adams.
I would be remiss to not mention my biggest
My biggest
inspiration.
inspiration, Ansel Adams. I love his stuff. Crazy.
So good.
No, I don't actually want to go first. I was pointing at Tanner to go first. So I actually want
Well,
you
I
to
feel
go
like
first.
I've already talked about mine. But Chris Burkhard, Ansel Adams, another one that I haven't mentioned, and this is kind of
Doubt I'm going to know that.
this is kind of off the beaten path and not like super in the.
Zeitgeist.
Whoa.
Don't know what that means.
Ah, it's like the Michael Jackson of words.
We're all learning something new today. But yeah, I don't like. Anyways, Jordan Keith is another photographer that I've been inspired by, like a lot of his work.
Yeah,
and
I like his stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, go check him out.
Cool.
Jack.
Me? Okay, I'll go. Okay, Wes Anderson, Damien Chazelle, I think. Damien Chazelle, La La Land. Good Will Hunting, Truman Show. Any of the first Marvel movies. Any of the new ones suck. But, and then...
Still have the hats right there.
sorry, I know. It's just gone downhill. And then Studio Ghibli, Spirited Away. I love that movie. Those are all like kind of my favorite. I think just media that made impacts on me that made me want to do directing specifically.
Yeah.
And like DPing, like making those, like I think La La Land specifically made me want to be a DP and make like beautiful shots and stuff like that. And so yeah, that movie is one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it's so good. And then Wes Anderson, just because he's
Do you
sick.
have a favorite shot that you've ever taken?
That I've ever taken? Oh man, that home shot is so cool. I love that shot.
I agree.
That is such a cool one.
It's
yeah.
on our Instagram if you want to see it.
Yeah, that was a fun one because that was one of the first ones that we like actually like set up, and like the lighting was cool and
The story
The
was
window
cool.
with the water stains,
And it
on
looks like
literally
the-
just worked out perfectly.
it was kind of like the first time we'd set up a shot to where like I don't know, it's cool to use lights in a practical way to like make it look like moonlight, or
yeah.
like the red was coming out of the sink, and like we didn't have a big key light, but that was okay because like yeah, I don't know, it's just playing with lighting is fun. And so I think that's probably one of my favorite shots, which is crazy because that was 2 years ago. So we need to start doing more stuff like that.
It was cool to just set it up. All three of us had a part in it, and
Yeah, so much fun.
and then it looked good.
So sick.
Like it was actually something that you had to be creative. It's not just a normal shot, and then it turned out, and it didn't feel cheesy.
Yeah, exactly. Because like those interview shots that we do and like podcast, it's so like, yeah, it looks good. But that was like creative lighting, which is like probably the most important part of like, well, it's a crazy take that I might get shit for, but probably the most important part of like DPing and stuff like that. So
So if you're a lighting person, hit us up.
yeah, we need to know.
Yeah.
Teach us your ways.
My dad gave me an MP3 player when I was like 12,
Walkman?
maybe even younger, but it had, sorry, I'm like talking to this way and it's probably going to be weird for the shot. So I'm going to put the iPad over here for you viewers. It had Queen, Beatles, Smiths, Erasure, REM, The Cure, just a lot of the 80s bands that my dad was listening to, and he probably wasn't thinking much of it. It's just what he had. But it was the MP3 player, and I would have my headphones and just listen to these probably 20 bands over and over and over and over again, and just knew them so much and thought. I didn't really listen to the radio a bunch, so that was just the music that I knew, and gave me an appreciation for storytelling, good writing, good music. And then from there, I went through a bunch of weird phases, country, punk rock, and landed when I found Justin Vernon, which is Bon Iver.
Not who I thought it was going to be.
And
Justin Bieber.
and Matty Healy, 1975.
That's what I thought it was going to be.
Matty Healy, 1975 is probably my biggest pull on what I would love to create, and it has a lot of pulls from 80s synth bands. So there's a reason why I love that so much, and not because I was in the crowd with all the other 12-year-old girls that loved him.
And me, don't forget me. I was there too.
And Tanner. No, Justin
Who is
Vernon.
this guy?
Justin Vernon is the lead singer of Bon Iver, or Bon Iver, if you say it like
It's
that.
It's Bon Iver, for sure. It's Bon Iver.
Yeah.
And he didn't seem to have like verses or choruses. The way that he was writing music was awesome. The stories that he was telling, the meaning behind everything. So I just loved all of his stuff, still do. And then Nova Amor, his first name's Ari. I can't remember his last name, but the band Nova Amor is just one guy, and he made a documentary of his last album. It's called Please Don't Stand Up When My Room Is in Motion. I've made you guys watch it.
Okay.
It is
Very cool.
awesome. It was the first documentary that I saw how you could tell a story through music and have music be the main focus of that documentary.
Yeah.
And still tell like a story where you're feeling all the emotions. It's pulling you in. You want to watch it. It feels like a film, but it's totally led by music. If you haven't watched it, it's on YouTube. It is so good. And Def Leppard, when I was really young, Joe Morton, Cup of Joe podcast, gave me
Not Def Leppard.
backstage passes to Def Leppard, and I got to meet the band.
Whoa. Crazy.
And like see REO Speedwagon and Styx, like all the 80s bands that I had been listening to meet them and see that they're human and that I could do it.
That's
was
so funny.
really cool. Just a bunch of different situations where I got to see the things that my dad had grown up on, kind of find where they are with the current music and what I loved. Pretty cool.
Dang, there you
Very
go. That's
cool.
funny that that documentary kind of reminded me of the first time I watched. This doesn't really have to do with that documentary, but you were just kind of saying like how the like music was the center of that kind of documentary, but it was still a documentary and it was filmed. And I feel like one of the first things that made me realize that you could tell stories through music was Bo Burnham's Inside.
Yeah.
I love that comedy special, I guess you could call it. But I remember watching that in the pandemic and being like, holy crap. Like
There's a different way to
There's
do
a
stuff.
different way to do stuff. Like that is so cool. And honestly, that is probably one of my favorite newest like kind of, I don't even want to call it a comedy special because it's not that, but it is a comedy special and it's funny. But there's also like lots of moments in that's like, whoa, that's really serious. And like he's really telling a story there through only music. And it's like, that was so cool to see. And that I love Bo Burnham, but kind of goes in line with that guy's documentary.
Yeah. It's awesome. Both of them are great.
Cool shit.
Number 4, moments of epiphany. Sorry that we're boring you, Tanner.
Yeah, geez, man.
Yawning.
Sorry, man. Late night.
Really?
Yeah.
He's been watching Moana.
Catching up on some movies.
Yeah.
I wish I was joking. We made fun of him so much
Really?
in the Disney one. He actually is going back through and watching all the Disney classics.
Are you really? Play footsies.
Yeah, the other night I watched Aladdin. I
That's a
had
good
already
one.
seen Aladdin though, so
I love Aladdin.
and then I started watching Moana. Fell asleep at 20 minutes in.
Wow.
But I will give it another try.
Jeez, man.
Good for him.
Shocking.
Anyways,
Moments of epiphany.
moments of epiphany. I think a big moment for me, I should probably address that I've been talking about music the whole time, and I am not a famous musician, and that is okay.
Never panned out.
I
Didn't want it to pan out.
I wanted it for a long time. I wanted to be in bands. I wanted to do what these artists were doing. I wanted to tour,
Was the fame appealing, or what was appealing about being a famous musician?
playing instruments with a band and being creative every day. When we were in high school, we built a band room, and we'd go to school and then get out at 2:15, meet at my house at 3, and play from 3 to 10 every single day.
Yeah.
Tanner was a part of that for a lot of them, even though he wasn't playing, just
Every single
Even though he's
one.
tone deaf.
just
Actually,
hanging out
what you don't know is Tanner's an amazing singer.
and a whistler. Which,
Big whistler.
who knew? But yeah, I think I fell in love with the collaboration of different people being creative, and I
Yes.
wanted to do that forever.
I feel like that's a big, that like feeling of making something with a bunch of people is like, oh, this is so fun. I want it to be forever. And naturally, being a famous musician is like
It turned out that I
route with
didn't
that?
really want to tour. I didn't want to live the life of what that was. I thought that I was going to like get to a place where now it makes sense. I didn't really love the journey towards the end. I
Yeah.
felt like I was trying to push creativity when it wasn't there with like 5 different people that didn't want the same things. And so that's really difficult.
Yeah.
Just a couple things happened where it's like, this is not the path. And then I thought, okay, well then that's done. So I'll get a normal job. And I never really fully let go of that side. I always loved audio and engineering. So didn't fully let go of that. Yeah. I just realized I didn't want that. But I still loved storytelling. I still love music. I wanted to still do a job that is creative, and that creativity also is like just not all the time always there. So that was another
Yeah.
thing I needed to realize. Like you can be in a job and it can feel like a job sometimes, but at the end of the day, it's still a creative role. And I think I landed in exactly what I was supposed to be doing. I love telling the story and doing emotion, like portraying emotion through media. And I still
Collaborating
get to
with
do
people.
that.
Yeah.
There is something to be said about the feeling that those musicians have when they're performing on stage and just singing a song that they wrote, not to,
Not to bring you back into
not to
your
bring
dream.
it back, but singing a song that you wrote and having like 1,000 or 20,000 or however many people
God, I can't
is singing
even
along
imagine.
with it and cheering for it the whole time.
That
And
must
it's
be
just,
the most surreal feeling.
I know.
I did write down that I have always been drawn towards live music more than
Yeah.
recorded music. And
Yeah.
if there is a recording of a live version, I will always listen to that version. There is something about community and being together for the same reason through music, where not everyone is at the same place in their lives. They
So crazy.
are from different places, but for that song or that concert, you're all together.
Those
I
videos
love
of people playing like big stadiums and sets, and just everybody's like,
it's
it's like-
nuts.
I know. And
That
this
must
is a
feel so
production.
weird.
This is a movie production, but the last 15 or 20 minutes of Bohemian Rhapsody when they're playing at the Live Aid
at
concert,
Live Aid. Yeah.
That is awesome.
I know it was all fake, but it was
Well,
so cool.
yeah, but
All fake, but very real.
and also probably
situation.
didn't even capture the actual like it did a very good job of like that feeling when you're watching it, especially in the theater. But
to be there.
to be there was probably
Oh my
like,
gosh.
oh,
I would have cried.
because at that time Queen was like, it was like kind of their comeback. Like Queen had already,
Yeah.
all their songs had already come out. They'd kind of had their moment,
Yeah.
and this was like the first time that they had played again in a minute, and it was like, oh my god,
It was.
I'm seeing Freddie Mercury sing Bohemian Rhapsody right now. It's freaking great.
Yeah, that movie, tears were shed.
Same.
I love that they're going back and doing all the movies, but damn, it makes you sad. Like,
Yeah.
it does not pull me in to want to live that life.
Yeah.
The Queen movie,
Elton
Elton
John.
John's,
Yeah.
Elvis's.
Yep.
You're like, geez,
Elvis is
these are
depressing.
so sad.
Yeah, that last scene of him singing
At the Wind.
what is that song?
I can't remember what the
I
last
didn't
song
see
was.
the Elvis one. I don't know.
Oh, well, you'll be very sad.
Watch that movie. That is a good one. And yeah, he's singing that song.
Yeah, that's a
It's
tangent, but
depresso.
it is. Yeah, it's not all it's cracked out to be, I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those feelings
Probably
are
not.
great, but I mean, I love Matty Healy, and he was addicted to heroin as
Yeah.
he was touring. Like, it's not the pressure that comes along with that is probably
Yeah.
pretty insane.
Yeah, and just the people that like that's that thing I was talking about of like you like all these people think that they know you and they don't know you, but they are like so invested in your music and they love your music and it has such a big impact on their life, but you don't know that person at all.
Yeah.
It's like that's probably a real weird feeling to be like I have millions of people that I don't know that are attached to me in ways
It's
that
like
are
what
real
Chapel
weird.
Roan is going through right now.
There you go.
And that would have been my life. I would have been bigger than all of them.
And
And
that's why you chose.
do
the
I
other
want
direction.
Elvis's life? Do I want Michael Jackson's life?
And
No.
that's why I chose not to do it.
So for that reason, I bowed out.
For that reason, I'm out.
But hey,
tough.
I still get to mess with audio. I still have a studio in the basement, and that's the epiphany for me that I love what I'm doing. But enough about me. Jack, any epiphanies?
Okay, sure. I'll go. Hold on. Actually, Tanner, you go because I need to pull out my notes app. Actually, I
Tanner.
can do it quick. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Okay, moments of epiphany. Okay, first moment of epiphany that I wanted to do what I do now is probably when I was really young, my dad got... Did you guys ever have those flip cameras?
Yeah.
Loved a flip camera. Me and all my friends made a short... film's a big word. Short thing about like a group of kids that got lost in in the forest and created like a mini society, and we filmed it all on like a flip camera, and I edited it in
Like
iMovie.
Super 8 meets Hunger Games, sort of a...
Literally. And we were probably all in like 7th grade, maybe 6th grade, and we would like have sticks and like we'd film fighting scenes, and I edited it all on iMovie, and it was
it.
killer, and it was so sick. And that was probably the first time, kind of that thing you're talking about when you're creating something with like a group of people where you're like, oh my gosh, I crave this feeling of like creation, and you see the finished product and you're like, this is so much fun. And even though it was so bad and like not good, it doesn't really matter because you're just creating something that I don't know. It took so long to film, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so cool that I made this. And also, another big thing is when me and my other friend Zach, were in elementary school, we created this stop motion film called Elmo's Death Jump. And we put it to.
We can't play that, unfortunately.
We cannot play Elmo's Death Jump, and I actually don't have it anymore, which bums me out so much because it took us weeks because it's stop motion. And it's like stop motion, but it's like 5 minutes long. It's long. It is so long. And it's Elmo. The premise is Elmo is jumping. This is crazy.
So
I got
Nance is
that from the
still
title.
considering...
Elmo's death jump. He like jumps on all the people and like kills them. And towards the end, he's like really sad because he's killing all his friends. And he like comes to this one person and he doesn't jump on them. And then they go back and he like unjumps on people and makes them alive. And it's to Coldplay's Not Fix You Scientist. It is
Classic.
so good. And the reason I made it is but the reason that we made it was because when we watched the Scientist music video, it's like all backwards and stuff, and it kind of looks a little bit like stop motion. Anyway, that was a big part too. And then kind of fast forwarding a little bit, I went to this thing called Prodigy Camp. Shout out Prodigy Camp because I'm a prodigy. You know, I'm a genius. And I made a movie called The Procrastinator, which I have, and we can also look at. But that was another big one where that was more of a like intense production. Like we shot it on real cameras. We had lights. There was like a post-production process where I wrote a script and like learned how to write a script too, which was kind of cool. Like how to script writing versus just like writing down like an idea is very different. And you like do like scene descriptions and you write like dialogue that isn't necessarily there, but like you want the character to be thinking it. And anyway, all these like little things. And that was a really cool experience for me. And that was another thing where you're around a big group of people that are all really creative and really smart. And Prodigy Camp has a lot of musicians too. So you're like, whoa, like there's all these crazy talented people here and that is so cool that I get to be a part of this big thing. And then fast forward again, I think one of the first podcasts we did and we got paid for it was like a big, like, holy shit, I could do this and make a living. And here we are today, barely making a living.
It is so much easier. Every single thing. Every single thing you said was with a group. Like, yeah. And we have 3 partners. I just encourage, like, yes, you can be creative by yourself, and there's lots of people that do, but man, get with some people and just make something for fun.
Even business, like, books always say that, like, having partners makes things easier. And it's just like, if you're just bouncing ideas off yourself, it gets, some people are really good at that. And I think there's part of creativity that like can thrive in that situation.
Yeah.
But
I personally can't. You do better people with other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Tanner.
Timo Swerve.
A couple moments of epiphany. I don't really have, I can think of one like actual time.
The first photo you took.
Not it. But
bad photo.
I would just say like seeing National Geographic stuff has always kind of made me want to do this professionally. And one like actual specific moment that I had that made me realize that it was possible was when I was in college, when I was in my photo lighting class. We had a day where it was like at the end of the semester, we had all of the photographers come in, we had hair and makeup artists come in, and we had models come in.
Whoa, cool.
And so it was just like a full day of just like shooting spec ads and like just shooting for your portfolio. It was really cool.
That's sweet. This is in high school?
In college.
No, in college at UVU.
Oh.
And so we were shooting on like different backdrops, and we had different like the makeup artists and the hair and makeup. They were creating like looks specific for backdrops, and so that was really cool.
That's sweet.
And I would say that's probably the moment that like led me to think that it was possible to do it as a career.
Like it was fun doing that.
Yeah.
As well as the landscape that you had done before.
Yeah, and like studio lighting, that was my first time like actually being in like a professional setting for studio. So I had done like a bunch of nature and landscape stuff before, but it was all just for fun.
Yeah.
And so being in that situation and obviously like collaborating with a ton of different people and then working and like doing the edits afterwards and giving them to the hair and makeup and to the models for their portfolios.
Oh, that's cool.
That was cool.
Were the hair and makeup people also in college?
Yeah, they were all, and models.
And the models were...
That network is so beneficial in college.
That's crazy. Do you have all their numbers? I need them.
I don't have their numbers.
Tough. Were they nude models?
Yes.
They were completely nude.
Going back to me just real quick, I feel like I would be crazy to not say Kurt Bryan or Kurt Hale. Kurt was the first person to pay me when I set up my own studio and just has always believed in me. But he worked at Vivint for their media production department, and he paid me to do their ads. And that was the first time, like alone by myself, this thing that I learned how to do is worth something. Yeah. And he has continued to always be, super, super helpful in knowing, you can do it as a job, and always just believing in me.
What would you do for those ads? Like make the music for them, or
Yeah, so he'd just give me like a feeling and a length of time, and then I'd send him like 3 options, and then they'd use them for their ads for Vivint, and they were partnered with Jazz at the time, so he'd use them for placing music for the TV commercials as well.
That's
for
sick.
Jazz.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, he's awesome, and doing a movie maybe in the future. So
has done
I'll-
movies, many
Put it out
movies,
there.
right?
with me doing the score. Yeah,
Score guy.
that's when I'll leave 98.
When he
So
does score
Kurt-
Yeah.
for her.
So Kurt,
Please text me.
save me.
I need this.
I need this. No, I love it. Is there anything else?
I don't think so.
All right. We love you. Remember.
We love you.
This is all off the record.